Hello, thank you for the invitation. Not in order to be contrived, but I'm going to withhold some of the information about this case just to retain an element of mystery. Suffice to say, it was a 48-year-old gentleman who came to our clinic complaining of reduced vision in his left eye. Vision was 636 or 0.78 logmar, pinholing to 0.48 logmar. And his fundal appearance was like this, with this diffuse paravascular hyperpigmentation.
So asymmetric genetic disease? Any bias for that? Any thoughts from the audience? Are they going to?
Any comments from the audience?
I have a comment if no one else does. How about metastatic melanoma?
How about it?
Metastatic melanoma.
Anyone want to second the metastatic melanoma?
Metastatic to the retina.
Okay, well, that's
A good suggestion.
certainly possible. And this is the autofluorescence. So we see here the diffuse scattered hyperpigmentation again.
So I do know this case. I'm going to shut up on this one. In fact, the only one I do know. Yeah.
Am I right or wrong, Adam?
We'll see. We'll see.
I think you, in the context, you probably would be right, but in this case, you're wrong. So this is the right eye, which was normal, grossly normal. And this is the OCT here now of the left eye.
So inflammatory? Any?
Potentially.
So lymphoma is suggested here. Excuse me? Any tattoos is the question?
Yeah, he does have a tattoo.
He does have a tattoo.
We'll see. We'll come to his tattoos. That might be relevant. So yeah, we can see here the staining of the posterior hyaloid and particularly around the disc with lots of hyperreflectivity inside the vitreous. So we've kind of had that discussion now, but I think the pertinent feature that I will share with you with the patient's permission is this photo of him. Okay, so this is, along Peter's theme of monstrous self-harm, he'd attempted to inject his tattoo, his sclera, with 10 mils of black tattoo ink, inadvertently penetrating the eye. And so this was on the table prior to his washout, and that was shortly afterwards. So the whole AC was full of ink, and there was also no fundal view at this point. So he went through actually...
He succeeded.
Yeah. So fully tattooed his eyeball, tattooed his retina. So he went through a protracted course of IOP management, obviously, and eventually stabilized before he came to me. And at this point, his vision, as I said, he was pinholing to about 0.48 logmar, and it was comfortable, the eye wasn't inflamed, and I was questioning whether I should just leave this alone and let it settle down. And it was, so I sent him off for electrics, essentially, to see what was going on. He had a grossly abnormal pattern VEP, and the pattern ERG showed generalized macular dysfunction. But here's the full field, and you can see the dim flash rod ERG is subnormal, and the A wave is reduced subnormal, and the lack of oscillatory potentials on the ascending limb of the B wave suggests inner retinal dysfunction as well as rod dysfunction. And then the light-adapted ERG also shows delay and reduction, indicating reduced cone function. He did have a stimulus response test in case there was media opacity limiting the pathway of instant light to the retina, but that didn't show any significant increase from 10 to 30 candela seconds per meter squared. So I'll just show you what I ended up doing on the basis of there being some generalized rod and cone dysfunction. I decided to go in. Apologies for the poor quality of the video, but I think you get the impression here that a lot of the ink, or indeed the macrophages with the ink in them, were just sitting on top of the posterior hyaloid. So no triamcinolone required for this case, but very densely full of pigment towards the inferior. I had a go at the nerve, but to be honest, in the interest of not traumatizing an already quite traumatized nerve, I ended up leaving this plaque because it was just sort of coming off piecemeal.
That was a free tattoo removal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, I've left a little mark in the middle. Yeah. And then we sent it off. So there was nothing. You can see here on the microscopy that they're the hyocytes containing the pigment within the degenerate vitreous in the top left. He's got the capsule there, shows pigment on the surface of the capsule, and he's quite well established the tattoo ink into his substantia propria in the conjunctiva there, so that's not going away. So he's very happy with the result. So that's what it looks like now. So there is still some pigment there. I was fairly, what I didn't want to do is create a break, and because God knows what would happen there. What we did do afterwards, here's the OCT, so we can see the residual pigment in the nerve, but otherwise, and there has obviously been some nerve fiber layer loss here off the back of.
Nerve fiber layer is all gone.
Visual acuity?
Well, the visual acuity at this point, he sees 0.48, pinhole is 0.3. We'll come to that because he's not entirely happy. I've taken the best slice there. But I'll just show you quickly. That's his right eye, FA and ICG. He does have some, you can see in both eyes really, he does have some telangiectasia peripherally, but there is actually this kind of filigree pattern and non-perfusion in the left eye. So I think there was some element of inflammatory or occlusive retinitis in that eye. So having a look at his OCT now, given his pressure's good, his vision's good, I've left him alone for the time being, but I think there are some pigment granules and hyocytes sitting right over his fovea, which are causing him quite a lot of blurring of the vision. So if I do decide to go in and potentially peel his ILM, I might apply some laser into the peripheral areas and non-perfusion. But in honesty, I think traumatizing his surface of the retina anymore is probably not going to help a huge amount.
But what do you think is the etiology? What's his visual acuity?
Well, I'll say pinhole 0.3, so he's got
0.3. So he's got some degree of visual loss. I think that he's got retinal and optic disc toxicity, though, from the ink, right?
I think that's what we presume from the ERG. We're sending him back for some more in a few weeks, and we'll see.
And then why do you think the vascular predilection for the pigment?
I suppose that's probably where the hyocytes have migrated to once they've sort of consumed the pigment granules. Because when you see the pigment on the microscopy, it is tiny as specks. But when you see it inside the macrophages, it creates these large lumps.
That's a good point. So probably there's a diffuse distribution of this ink. The macrophages are eating it all up and then trying to escape out into the circulation through the vessels.
Yeah.
Probably all in his spleen now. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Great. That's a phenomenal case.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So but to wrap up, please don't